So up next, quality since inception powered by intelligent QA. And the key question in this session is, there a way to reduce time and effort spent on activities meant to assure quality without compromising on quality and still make the process of software development and delivery seamless? So here is this next presenter that I'd like to introduce and invite on stage, Mr. Vadeesh Budramane. He has over 28 years of experience focused on product engineering, innovation and IP creation. And most recently, he was Senior Vice President of IT Services at Sutherland Global Services. Previously, he served as Director and Head of Healthcare Vertical for CSC India, and before this, he was Managing Director of First Consulting Group of India. So he's the founder and CEO of AlgoShack Technologies Private Limited. And last year was when he embarked on his entrepreneurial journey. He conceptualized AlgoShack Technologies. It's a startup born agile platform company that transforms software delivery by leveraging artificial intelligence and deep technology. So ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together and give a warm welcome to Mr. Vadeesh Budramane.
Good afternoon. Hope you had good lunch. A quick check. I know many people have already asked this question. How many of you have already tried machine learning models? You may raise your hands. Those who have tried machine learning models already, if you have any experience, please raise your hands. So, thank you. I know I have attended several of the previous speaker sessions. I also attended sessions in Robusta. I understand that this is a very good audience. A lot is happening in testing. Before I get into the topic, let me narrate a couple of anecdotal experiences that I have had, that motivated me to pick up testing as my journey, which is what I'm now pursuing with AlgoShack. Personally, I've learned a lot from these experiences, and trust me, I'm for testing, so don't get me wrong, we'll probably conclude it towards the end. So this was about 10 years ago. I had just then taken over the responsibility of delivering a complex product. And there were, 1,500 people working on one single product. They were working in silos. They were working on overlapping functionality, resulting in a lot of conflicts and rework. There were 1,500 people, rightfully so, because it was at that point in time touted as the largest Microsoft project outside of Microsoft. But then delivery was behind schedule and cost was escalating with every passing day. Just as much there were more people, there were more designers, more developers and more test engineers too. And they wrote more and more test cases. There were 64,000 test cases. And the test suite was growing with every passing day. There were test cases written from day one, though product was undergoing significant design changes all along. It was a product in its nascent stage, and we were trying it out with early adopters. So there were more test cases, so it took more time to test, and then there were more issues to analyze, more issues to triage. It was becoming humanly impossible. It was evident that there was a problem and things were messy, but then it hit me hard when one day the team invited me for a celebration. They were celebrating having raised 100,000 defects. So obviously, teams were at cross purposes, not by intention, but then there was no right structure, no motivation for success. They were not joined up for market success. So we then did many things. We restructured teams, we shifted processes to the left, we started leveraging production configuration in engineering testing. We started testing for business processes. This is 10 years ago. And we automated testing, we optimized and automated. More importantly, we started aligning teams with the way code was being managed so that there was no rework. We introduced common services branch, etc. The point that I'm trying to make here is that the more the merrier doesn't work with product development and testing. Cohesive commando teams work a lot better. Collaboration is key. And that's going to be the theme of my presentation going forward as well. And of course, it has to be facilitated, supported by intelligent QA. In another example, wherein we were working on a 20-plus-year-old legacy product in the medical imaging space. In medical imaging, you deal with medical devices, you deal with modalities, and some of these are interventional in nature. And when quality goes bad, when it suffers clinical errors, then there is every chance of it leading to mortality. One of the recent releases, this is a far more recent example, and one of the recent releases had failed due to clinical error, and product had to be recalled from the marketplace. What happens when a product is recalled from the marketplace? The brand image of the company was hit badly, reputation was at stake, and when we analyzed the problem lied in testing domain. Again, this is not to put testing in a corner. So there was a vendor who was testing the product for over 10 years, but the vendor did nothing nothing to innovate, maintain status quo all through. And that didn't help. The test cases were not validated for clinicality. Clinical validation is critical. Domain knowledge is critical because you are dealing with patients, you are dealing with people. And then there was no risk profiling of the test cases and no automation whatsoever. Every time people tested manually and every time quality was compromised for paucity of time. So we then introduced a team of doctors, radiographers, radiologists, and we also applied what we call behavior-driven development. You all know, I'm sure, BDD in the agile parlance. It has helped standardize testing to a great extent, and thanks to tools such as Cucumber and SpecFlow that have helped further the cause of BDD. And subsequently, the problem was resolved. The point is, testing is becoming more and more techno-functional. And as you can relate now, testing is also about, brand. It's about perceived brand, right? What's a brand? It's a thought that, lives in the minds of people. It's your customer's view of the quality of your product. It's something that helps customers develop emotional attachment to your product. And for that, testing is integral. And user-centered testing is critical for building that brand, building that emotionally resonant product, which is the theme of this conference. I'm really excited to be here. I thank QAI STC for this opportunity. We are probably, as a company, youngest here. You all have a lot more experience. So, as we move forward, probably you will find some of the concepts here at a broader level, not at the level of details that the earlier speakers have discussed, but we are very much working on this vision. So let me move on to this. To the actual topic. So, let me check. Okay. So what's changing? Digital transformation is pushing the boundaries. Customer experience has become key driver for business. Digital essentially means, means new ways of doing business. It means leveraging 360-degree view of the customer, and across all interactions and transactions, and helping deliver personalized experience. Strategies are evolving on an ongoing basis, daily basis, to engage with customers in new ways. For example, if you look at, let's say, health plans industry, they send context, sensitive campaigns, say to the newly married, with attractive health plans, right? And as the prospective buyer shows interest, chatbots engage, and they help with the process of enrollment as well. There are solutions that try to make best out of customer lifetime value. This is not about making money one time, but about engaging with the customer, earning their loyalty, managing churn, and making best out of their lifetime value. This puts enormous pressure on software companies, because you expect now software to refresh in short order. So let me step back a bit. So what's happening on the delivery front or on the engineering front? You have infrastructure which has already been commoditized. You have business processes that have been automated thanks to RPA. In my view, RPA is a lot more advanced than automated testing. I heard Raj Dhingra's session as well. Several call centers have already collapsed thanks to virtual agents. So what is left is products and applications that are still resource intensive, that are time consuming. So there is enormous pressure on software companies to refresh products in short order. Earlier they took months, they took years to bring out a release, but now that's changing. You only have about a couple of quarters before you actually can deliver, and that applies to new product implementations as well. So fail fast is becoming the mantra, and it helps to validate or invalidate hypothesis as quickly as possible, at the least cost. Moving on. So with product and application at the center, right? Software at the center, software as the differentiator. Testing is critical. Testing is critical, will continue to be a critical consideration. It will go through transformation, which we'll talk about in a minute. And application testing market as such is big. It is growing at about 15 to 19% CAGR annually, and it is expected to grow at that pace all through to 2022 to be a $55 billion market by 2022. So testing is here to stay and grow. But with about 61% of testing being manual, there will be significant transformation. There will be a lot of innovation, and you see it already in the sessions here. So this is the best time to be in testing, in my view. And going by what Forrester says, testing is the lowest hanging fruit. When it comes to applying AI to development, testing is the low hanging fruit. Going by Gartner, about if you take selection criteria for testing engagements, top 3 will include AI and machine learning. So intelligent QA is the way to go. And when I say intelligent QA, I'm actually reimagining testing. Some of it is happening, some of it we are doing, some of it our peers are doing in the industry, and some of it will happen and some of it could happen. So there is a little bit of visioning as well in this. So what's intelligent QA? In the first place, it's about a collaborative process. It's a holistic process than ever before. It's about 360-degree testing, user-centric, we talked about it, domain intuitive testing, and intelligent QA, is expected to empower everyone to test, and that's about humanizing technology. Someone talked about humanizing quality. Absolutely. The point is, how do you ensure that technology is very easy to use? How do you ensure that it is intuitive? How do you ensure that automated testing platforms are very easy to use, be it for a developer or a tester or an automation engineer or a product owner or a BA? That's what matters. Let me give a very quick analogy here. Japan Airlines, they use Microsoft's HoloLens for teaching their engineers, to learn how jet engine works. In front of the engineers, 3D hologram, will be created. It will be right in front of them and will help them experience each part of the jet engine. Think of it. Training is fun when it is done this way. Training is very productive when it is done this way. How different it is, when it comes to, if you compare it with the conventional way of training people in a classroom with voluminous manuals and so on and so forth. That is about humanizing technology, and that's what will happen with intelligent QA. It will help build platforms that are emotionally resonant. It will also help build products for the end users that are emotionally resonant. How is this made possible? First of all, testing will shift to extreme left. We have talked about shifting left, but this will shift to extreme left into design. Testing will influence design for reuse of patterns, reuse of components. There will be standardization. I talked about BDD already. Obviously, there will be optimization, and automation is not the conventional automation that we are talking about. Here we are talking about automating the process of automation, right? Underlying principles are common. We are talking about robotics. I'll come to that point in a minute. Ultimately, it will empower people. It will motivate them to do the right job the first time itself. So why is this change? It's going to make testing cheaper, testing faster, testing better. Coverage is superior. There are many more details that we could discuss, but in the interest of time, I'll keep it short. Coverage, accuracy, easy to use. Some of those aspects, are embodied into when I say, better. So inducing quality right from the design is what we are talking about with intelligent QA. So horizon broadens significantly for testing. The definition is changing. I talked about design. In development too, testing will help uncover those habitual issues, uninitialized variables, memory leak. I'm not saying we will use static code analyzer. I'm saying we'll learn for a given demographic of developers and help them mitigate such risks. There will be more emphasis on unit testing and integration testing. I don't necessarily mean to say we'll follow testing pyramid. I think testing pyramid will look like a diamond when it is engineered for higher effectiveness. Behavior-driven development as a way of life for producing fit-for-purpose applications and products. Behavior-driven development for testing intended use. And QA will go beyond the routine, will help increase, obviously, profitability, will help increase revenue. It will also help with new revenue streams, and will help with the brand advancement. So we are talking about continuous testing that is habitual, that's machine driven, that uncovers habitual issues. So we talked about automation, automating the process of automation. So automation all through the testing life cycle. So we are not talking about automating test cases and executing automatically. We are talking about automating test planning, test designing. We are talking about test data preparation, test environment, test maintenance. So it's a lot more holistic. Just as much low code, no code is becoming popular in development, with millennials. It's going to be popular in testing as well, because that provides the level of abstraction necessary for rapid test cases and test scripts development. To give an analogy, again, not a apple to apple comparison, but for the same reason JavaScript is becoming popular, because it provides abstraction. It is easy to learn. The entry barrier is low. And when you have JavaScript, you can do front end with it, you can do back end with it, middle layer, database layer, everything you can deal with JavaScript, one skill set. You don't have to learn multi skills. Given the number of technology, underlying technologies, without the abstraction, humanizing technology is going to be very, very difficult. That said, we are not talking about scripts as in not so production grade. We are talking about production grade software, even with automated scripts, which means they can't be loosely typed, so to say, using JavaScript's language. They got to be strongly typed. There cannot be performance issues. You can't compromise with security. Low code, no code can go this far. So what is in it for testers, manual testers or test engineers? You can do more for less, right? Again, someone was talking about ALM in one of the tracks. In my view, traceability will be a thing of the past. If ALM focuses only on traceability and doesn't give you enough insights, then it has to go through significant transformation forced by intelligent QA, where UML failed. Intelligent QA will fare better because tests will keep pace with changes in application, and changes in test cases will be propagated downstream seamlessly. It may sound a little bit of a stretch if I say all it takes is a click or two or touch here and there for generating your manual test cases and test scripts, but it won't take weeks, it won't take months. It'll probably take a few minutes before you have thousands of optimized manual test cases and automated test scripts are produced. AI, absolutely, where it matters, right? We have been working with a local university for research. Thanks to the changing scenario there, today you will find industry veterans in academia. People who have spent 25, 30 years, you will find them in research labs in the university. So they are helping further the cause of industry-university collaboration and also research. Research bent of mind is very critical. If we are too focused on operational aspects, that's where we spend most of our time, then there is no time for research, and that is getting addressed by such collaborations. And we have tried both supervised learning, unsupervised learning. We have taken a couple of applications from Git, and that comes with a lot of data. We believe that the immediate application of AI is in these areas. Sensing application changes, predicting failure given a test case, or risk profiling. When it is accurate, you don't need to test. You can go for investigating that scenario directly, improving speed of execution. Of course, you will also be able to forecast performance of the application in the production environment. Test cases will be self-healing, no maintenance is required, so flakiness will be a thing of the past. You would need data, and you would need aging information as well. And in some cases, you will require code-related information as well for better results. And the models will have to be specific. Machine learning models will have to be specific to the application in question. Will have to be, it's even better if it is specific to a given test case. So for intelligent QA, market momentum is building up. With the rise of AI, we now have 5th generational automated testing framework. New and innovative vendors are embracing open source and artificial intelligence. This will be further accelerated by the convergence of RPA platforms and automated testing platforms. If you use robots for testing an application, you could use the same robot later for running those services as well. Why do this in 2 different domains? Why don't you come together, merge? And this is historical, right? BPO started with RPA and IT started with automated testing. I hope the convergence is probably in the next 1 to 2 years of horizon. Uberization is about to begin, or it has begun. In the past, every company developed their own automated testing framework, but no one really focused on productizing them, and that's the real issue. So why reinvent the wheel? Why don't you use third-party platforms that are readily available? Leave it to the experts to build those platforms. That's going to happen, and this will not be limited to shared test labs. It will go beyond that. So platforms are certainly gaining traction. How to be future ready? With all this happening, right? Things have been changing. Change is not something that's been happening in the last 2 years. If you look at internet, email, SMAC, smartphone, AR, VR, ML, IoT, things have been changing. Old order companies have paved the way for newer ones, Nortel, Kodak, digital, they are no more, right? Some of the applications also no more. Yahoo Messenger was laid to rest about 6 months ago, right? Netscape died a natural death because they couldn't cope with the competition from the likes of IE, etc. at that point in time. But things are changing now. I won't elaborate much. So things are changing anyway, right? So let's not worry what's changing. Let's see how we could adopt. Reskilling is an important aspect. Stay relevant. Probably in the immediate future, one needs to learn programming, but once these mature platforms are in place, then you will get the abstraction. You will not require to code per se, but you got to be, techno-functional. So when I say this, this is reinforcement to myself. So don't get me wrong, I'm not preaching here. The thing is, you will be able to do more for less. Very important. If you're a freelancer, you will understand what I'm saying. You may be able to spend just an hour and do, what you would take otherwise a day, right? We have heard about QABA, we have heard about SDETs, right? Software development engineers in testing. So testers could take the role of product owner now, because that's up for grabs. There are not too many people who can help humanize technology, who can help build emotionally resonant products. You can train manage machine learning systems, so much work is there. You need to train those models on an ongoing basis. You can lead the transition, continuous integration, continuous delivery. And there is a whole host of things that is not yet attempted, in my view, by automated testing, exploratory testing, A/B testing, testing for new technologies such as blockchain. IoT remains a challenge. Robots, of course, crowd testing. So testing is not going away. It's transforming, it's growing. And as organizations, what we could do, focus has to be reskilling. You cannot hire those people that are fully ready for your requirement. They don't exist because the skill set is not in the normative range, right? BDD is not a tool. If you don't give people a chance to learn, there is no way one could learn what is BDD. So you need to invest in training, encourage teamwork, form multidisciplinary teams, extending agile concept, and prepare for new business models. T&M is definitely going to go away. Finalize platform strategy. Finalize platform strategy. Be a visionary. Lead the change. Be the change. Possibilities are enormous. Let me sum up saying testing is growing. Testing is changing. This is the best time to be in testing. Testing will change the way software is delivered. It's a matter of time. Thank you, and I can take any questions. I'm sorry, I think I took much longer. I'm very sorry.
That's okay. Are you done?
Yeah. I'm okay.
All right.
I'm okay. Thanks.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vadeesh Budramane. Another round of applause for this very interesting session. He will be around, so if you want to have a one-on-one, you can definitely pose all the questions to him. We now move on to our next session.